Good afternoon. Today I'm speaking to Andree Roby. Good afternoon. Would you like to tell us a little bit more about yourself and about your books?
Yes, good afternoon, Donna. Thank you for having me today. Yeah, I'm Andree Roby. That's my pen name. My real name's Regine. Um, I've written 3 books, 2 of them during 2020. Other one was started some time ago. I started writing Double Vision. That was my novella. There was a crime drama. Um, I brought this out in January 2019. That was a very quickly written book because I had the story in my mind and I wanted it to just go out. And I wanted it to go out on the day of my dad's birthday, which was 30th of January. Um, because my name, André, is actually his name and one of my names too. So I rushed a bit. Now, with hindsight, like most author, I wish I'd spent maybe a little bit more time on it. But, I was a woman with a mission on that book. So this is it. It just came out. And then after that, I published the A to Z of original poems, flash fiction, and short stories. This came about because I was writing short stories for a writing club. I wrote some poems back in 2000 that I've put in that. And then I was also writing short story for Worthing Flash Fiction blog. And so I amalgamated all of that into a book, and each story starts by a letter of the alphabet. So that was quite good. I published that in April 2020. I love that. And actually, this one is not doing badly in Australia. For some reason, the Australian like that. I'm marketing it as a quick reads for busy people. So maybe that's what it is. I don't know. And then this took me 18 months to write. Found Vision. It's actually the prequel to Double Vision. And this one just came out on the 31st of October 2020 on Halloween. And Halloween, I chose that date specifically because it's relevant to the book. And both of those books are about a psychic medium who helps the police solve cases. And that's it in a nutshell.
Did you always want to be a writer?
No, I wanted to work with young kids. When I was in France, I always wanted to be like a nursery nurse. Then my parents very forcefully pushed me towards a secretarial career. So, which is what I did in France before I came to England 42 years ago. Um, but I always wrote sort of little articles and things for in school and did like fundraising for causes like in the 70s when baby seal were being killed and things like that. So I used to write little bits, more like journalism than anything. And then I had a career in secretarial, and then had my daughter, then I had various things, and only started writing in 2018, really. But in between, in the year 2000, I started writing some poems. Some of those are in my book. There's some still to be published. So no, I have not really done a whole career as a writer. I've had countless career, very varied, from solicitors to teaching, to travel agent, to working for a vitamin company, chemists, you name it. But now I'm a writer, yes.
What caused you to take the leap and go for it and write?
Well, my daughter kept telling me, Mom, you should write because you love words and you're good at it as a secretary, a PA. I had to write letters, I had to write report. I worked for Howard People in Lloyd's of London. So I guess I've always worked with words and I love like dictionaries, thesaurus, all of this. So it came about like that. And in fact, Double Vision started in my daughter's front room with her and her boyfriend, when me telling them the story, them telling me, come on, just go and write it. And so we talked about the story. They gave me some ideas. I said yeah, or I said no. What? And then I went back home, and I think I started writing the first 3 or 4 chapters, like within a couple of days. They inspired me. So uh, I think my daughter had been pushing me for a long time. I just needed to believe in myself enough to take the leap.
And was she your first reader?
She was, yes. She's been her and her boyfriend have been very instrumental. When I'm stuck, I know where to go and say, look, I've got this idea or that idea. What do you think? And then she'll say, yeah, I think so. And so we explore things. I have another very good friend, Sue, who's been devoted to my reading and who's been very helpful as well. So I have a network of really good people around me. But yeah, my daughter's been instrumental doing a lot of things. She's done the covers as well, those 2 covers she's done. She helped me with this cover. That's her glasses. She took the picture and she inserted the figures inside the glasses. Again, that's relevant to the story. So yeah, it's been a bit of a teamwork. Yeah.
That's nice to have that sort of special bond with your daughter as well.
Yes, yes. But because she's young, she also has different ideas sometimes than me. So I can put into words better what she means, but sometimes I need her input to refresh my mind of things. So yeah, it's a good partnership.
Did you use your upbringing in France as inspiration for your stories?
In there is a very moving story called The Opening, which is really about mental health as well, which is about when my father had a nervous breakdown and how it affected the child that I was at 9 years old. There's also another story about Nobody's Around, about how difficult it is to live alone in a country that's not yours, with no family around, how some days can be heavy. And it's not about my life in France, but it's about having left my life in France to live with a guy I'd met, to marry after, and now the consequences of this life alone here. So I would say that reflects some aspects of my life in France. I am writing at the moment a story as part of an anthology of short story, and the theme is A Glimpse into My Country, and that is about 5,000 words on France and Paris of the 60s and 70s when I was a child, which I really took great pleasure to write. So yeah.
Were you a big reader as a child?
Oh yes, yes. I loved reading. Yeah, I always had books on the go. Even when I arrived in this country, I started reading, and that's showing my age, Catherine Cookson. I liked her because it taught me quite a lot about England and English people and things like that. Then I went on to Danielle Steele and Jackie Collins. That wasn't exactly literary, but yeah, I would read quite a lot. It's more, since I've been writing, I have to say I've not read as much. I don't seem to be able to settle into reading as much as I used to.
What drew you to writing crime fiction?
I love Peter James, and he inspires me, and I wanted to not emulate him because I'm no way to his standard, but I wanted in a way to achieve something that people would love to read. And because I had this story in my mind, crime was a difference, because I'd never read anything like that, never read any stories along the storyline of the book. And I don't know, it just came. But I have to say, I also enjoy writing these, which are completely different genre. Yeah, it wasn't a decision, okay, I'm going to be a crime fiction writer. It wasn't that decision. It just came about that this story was actually based on someone I was with for 4 years. I can't explain why, but when people read it, they will understand the character. And I had to write it. I had to write because it was so different. So the feelings of Vanessa are feelings that I know through personal experience of that person I lived with. If that makes sense without spoilers.
Have you made friends with lots of other authors since you've written?
Yes, there's one who's been very helpful, Joanna Warrington, who she doesn't write crime fiction. She writes lovely stories. She's just written one that happened during the COVID lockdown and some about the thalidomide scandal. I've met a lot of people on the Facebook thing. And that's been really great to be able to join, like Walkens to join your group. Joe Singleton has been really good, sort of like almost like a mentor. There's various people, the Sam Bramling, the UK Crime Book Club, they've been really good. It's such an exchange with people, and if you read all the comments, the question, you'll just learn so much. So apart from Joanna, I've not met another writer face to face, sort of, but I've benefited from the whole community of writers on Facebook, and that's been great, really good experience.
Yeah, it's a great community, isn't it?
It is. You learn so much. They're very generous with their advice. They're very generous with their time. And, you could always find someone to ask a question to, and you will find many people that will answer you. And, that's been great.
What's been your best moment as a writer so far?
Well, obviously, seeing my first book arriving was like special. I think everybody, when it's their first book, to actually see my name and see it sell. The other one was when I did the sponsored ads through Amazon and I did my first sale in Australia. For some reason, it's just, I thought, wow, because I know in Australia, it's no one I know has bought my book. Someone on the other side of the world who didn't know me, who read the bumps and who decided, oh, that might be interesting, and bought the book. So yeah, the moment I got notification that books had sold in Australia was a great moment. And that was in October 2020.
Wow. And what's the best compliment you've received?
Best compliments I've received. I've had some good reviews. I've had some not as good reviews. I think the best compliment is people who've read my first book and who've now read Felt Vision and who've said to me, wow, this is on a different path. Your writing has really improved and progressed, which is what I was wanting for myself and for my reader. And that's how I realized that Double Vision could have been different. So that was, to me, a good compliment, because this is what I wanted to achieve. I wanted people to realize I had matured as a writer, that that this book, this Failed Vision, was in a completely different path than the other one. So I've achieved that, I think. I hope.
If your readers are saying so, then I'm sure.
Yes.
I'm sure you have.
Yeah.
Because we know our stuff, don't we, us crime readers?
I know. Very, very, and it's an audience I respect. I respect the feedback that I've had. Some got me a bit down, but also made me think. And it was very valuable to get feedback from people who read so much. And that's why I had some feedback. And yeah, very valuable.
What's the most interesting thing you found out when you've been researching for your books?
I've been researching for that book. I had to watch for Double Vision. I watched some police interviews because there is an interview in there, so I wanted for that to be correct. I also, for Feld Vision, what I find really interesting was to watch all these programs about Britain's worst child killer. What makes a child kill another child, and also things like Psychic Detective. I watched to do research to get the the character of Amanda. Okay, I've also spoken to mediums as well. So there's been various aspects of the research that I've really, really enjoyed.
Yeah, it sounds interesting.
Yes.
How do you choose your character names?
Actually, I've done a list. I look at some certain Christian names of men and women, and then I look at surname, and I try to match so that it rings nicely to me. I've actually spent a day not long ago writing characters' name. I don't know for when, but male and female, or if I hear someone on TV that's being interviewed or something, then I will change the name slightly if I like the name. In Feld Vision, the character, one of the policewomen, it's actually a similar name to the one I saw an interview on YouTube. I liked her name, it meant something, so that's what I used.
Do you hide any secret messages or jokes in your books that only a few people will understand?
No, but I think I think if the person I was with for 4 years read Double Vision, he would probably know that he had an input, that it was based on that. But I don't think that's going to ever going to happen. In this one, there's a couple of bits that, yeah, actually, yes, there are some hidden messages that have been understood. Yeah, good question. Come think of it, there's a couple of things that are not secrets because they're now exposed, but refer to something. Yeah.
I like that question. I always find it interesting.
Yeah, no, it's a good question. No one's ever asked me that, but yeah, it's good.
If you were to spend a day with an author, alive or dead, who would you spend a day with?
Do you know what? I think I'd like to spend a day with Catherine Cookson. I know it's old school. But I've always liked her style, and for some reason I think I would learn quite a lot from her. So yeah, probably Catherine Cookson.
What's your biggest fear, and would you write about it?
I have written about my biggest fear in one of the course I did. One of the things was to write the biggest fear and to write then a 5-minute story about it. I wrote a story about my fear of feathers, phobia of feathers. I wrote a story about losing my teeth for some reason. One of the stories in this book came from a fear as well, fear of wild animals. But those are just like phobia. I guess my biggest fear would be to die in pain, but I'm not sure if I would write about it.
Yeah, fair enough. That's
Yeah, I'm not sure.
No. What's your writing day look like?
At the moment, it's pretty relaxed. I think towards the end of last year, I'd got to the point where I was overtired. I'd published 2 books. I'd lost my mum, and I just felt I needed some time. So, which is what I did over Christmas. And my daughter and boyfriend, in their lovely wisdom, book got me a Fire Stick, Amazon Fire Stick, and put Netflix on it, which has been the death of me. So yeah, I'm still writing, but not the same extent. I have written a story, that story about France, Paris, that's done. And I have a project that I'm working on with Book Hill International, a publishing house in Nepal, and that's got UK subsidiary. So I'm working on that, but I haven't had the intensity of writing that I had since, you know, the last 2 years when I produced those 3 books. There is a 4th one in the pipeline, but I've got bits of it. So yeah, at the moment, the writing is on hold for a little while longer.
Now, do you plot your books or do you just go with the flow?
I'm a pantser. I'm a pantser. I found writing Felt Vision was more difficult because I knew what the end was. So I had to almost work back, and I find that so difficult. I much prefer to write as I go along, and Double Vision, the end was different. Then I changed it. But obviously I couldn't change the end of Felt Vision because we know what happens, so we couldn't change that. I could only write how it gets there, and you know. So in a way, that was like if it was plotted already, because I knew the end product, and I don't think I would do a book like that again. I much prefer to go with the flow. And that's pretty much how I write sometimes. Sometimes I will write solidly for 2 or 3 days or through the night because I have something in my mind, and that's it, I just do it. I'm like possessed and I just write it. I'm not that disciplined to say, okay, I'm going to do several hours a day. I know I should, but that's not my style of writing. If the creativity comes, then there's no hold bar. If the creativity is not there, I can't sit in front of a laptop and try to write. I've tried it, it just doesn't work.
What would you say to your main characters if you were transported into your book?
In which book?
Any of them.
Well, the character I would choose to speak to would be Sam in Felt Vision, because I would try to speak to him and make him feel that he doesn't need to do what he's done. You know, that however, whatever way his parents behave, deep down they still love him, and there are other ways to deal with it, with things, than to turn to crime or or things like that. I would chat to Amanda as well. I would be interested to chat to her. You know, the medium and yeah, I think that's the two people I would speak to.
What do you like to do when you're not writing, apart from Netflix?
Well, at the moment, Netflix. Walk my dog because it helps me think about plots and things. I used to love reading, as I said. I've not read as much. When we can travel, I would love to go. I've not done that, but one of dream I'd love to do is to get a mobile home and drive through France and Spain. There's a lot of areas of Spain I know and some I don't know. I have friends throughout France that I haven't seen, and I would like to just go around doing that. I also like traveling in England, sort of see various places as well. And obviously at the moment we can't. I like cooking as well. And yeah, that's about it.
What's the most embarrassing thing that's ever happened to you?
When you get to 63, there's been a lot of embarrassing moments in your life. But I will tell you, the one that still sticks in my mind 40 years later. I'd only just arrived in England, possibly a month or two. And I had some spots on my arms, on my face, I can't remember. And I remember going to the chemist and ask for cream for my buttons, because in French, the equivalent of spot is a bouton, which is the same as a button and a spot. And I didn't realize that obviously it was wrong. So everyone laughed at me and I just didn't know what to do. And I'm still mortified. 40 years later, that was 1978. And I still remember this feeling like cringeworthy. Oh my God, you know, but I just didn't know. To me, it was button. That was it. So yeah, that was extremely embarrassing. Definitely.
Yeah, the English language is special, isn't it?
Yeah, it's challenging, especially when you've only done some within the context of school, and then suddenly I come to England and I have to find work and things like that. Although my level wasn't too bad, but I've certainly learned a lot since. But yes, that was very cringeworthy.
Yeah. If you were to invite 4 famous people to a dinner party, who would you invite?
Oprah Winfrey. I'd love to talk to her. What's her name? Teresa Caputo, the medium, Long Island medium. I would love to talk to her. I would love to talk to her because I would love to hear from my dad and my mum. So I would love Teresa Caputo to come to dinner. Probably Peter James or John Grisham as well, to get this talk about the books that I've loved from them. So one or the other. And I don't know. Oh yes, my great-grandmother. She passed when I was young. She was in her 90s, but my mother always told me, oh, you're like your grandmother, your great-grandmother. So I'd love to talk to her. It's also from what I've heard my mother said for the family tree. She was a pretty strong woman who's done quite a lot. So I would love to talk to her about her life and see why am I so much like her, in what respect, because obviously I don't know. So yes, that would be my 4th guest.
Awesome. Do you have any strange or unusual talents?
Well, strange or unusual talents. No, I'm trilingual, but that's not that unusual. I could roll my tummy when I was young, like belly dancing. Um, God, no, I don't think so. That's all I can think of. No special talent, no.
No, I don't either.
I can't touch my nose with my tongue or lift my eyebrow or anything like that. I can't. No, I can knit. I can knit very well. But no, can't think of anything else.
And speaking 3 languages is pretty cool, especially in this country. We can speak one generally. We're pretty rubbish with that, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, but more and more people now are sort of, going into languages. It used to be quite a distinction, sort of, but now more and more people speak. So it's good. It's very good that they do.
Yeah. What's your biggest goal as a writer?
I would love to get one of my book published by a traditional publisher, so some marketing could be done, and get to the point where my name is mentioned as often as some of the lovely published authors on the various Facebook pages, the Cass Finlay, Tony Forder, Mike Craven, all those names that you see regularly. I would love to get to that point where people wait for my next book to come out because I say, "Oh yeah, have you read the latest Andree Roby?" No, I can't wait for it. And that would be like, wow, the business.
Do you get a lot of feedback from your readers?
I have some. Yeah, I have. There's a friend of my daughter from university. She's like such a lovely fan. Her name is Jess, and she's so enthusiastic about my books. And she said, "I need the next one. I need the next. I want to read the next one," and it really does spur you on. I have good friends who give me feedback, and honest feedback as well. And they've all been waiting for Felt Vision to come. That took a long time. They all waited for that. But when it's someone who didn't really know me, like someone my daughter met at uni and who's suddenly such a fan of my books, it has slightly different feel to it.
Yeah. What's coming next for you?
Well, I was going to write Deadly Vision, the third in the series. So that's on the card, sorry. I'm also writing a short story for each month of the year. So that's not letter of the alphabet, but that will be each month of the year. And as I said, I'm in partnership with Book Hill International. It's a publisher in Nepal who's bringing Nepalese books to England, and there is a UK subsidiary. We're going to be doing a call for submission for short stories on the theme of A Glimpse in My Country. So I will put that on Facebook groups if that's okay. So I will be reading the story, I will be editing them. So, and we're going to put possibly 15 stories together as an anthology. And we've also decided together with Sangeeta, the lady who's in charge, the head of that, we will donate some of the proceeds of the book to the World Literacy Foundation and to help, kids, because it still amazes me to see the number of children, whether in England or worldwide, who still can't read, or women that can't read, because so many women are denied education or don't value. Well, actually, no, it's not true. When I've seen women in education from some countries, they always value it far more than European people. They really do. But there's still too much illiteracy. So 10% of the proceeds will go to that foundation. So I thought we both agreed that would be a worthwhile thing to do. So I hope we get enough people writing to make it a really nice anthology, and that we can sell it and send some money to that foundation.
Yeah, that's amazing. I'll push that as much as I can in my group as well, because I really agree with that. That's being able to read is one of the greatest gifts that you can have. So
yeah, it is. We wouldn't be able to write if we couldn't read. Even me speaking languages, I wouldn't be able to speak language, except I've never been able to read. And you know, it just brings so much. I mean, in this time of the lockdown, reading or whatever, it's just escapism, and you need that. And I remember as a child, you know, escaping through books and things, and you know, my daughter's always read, and I just love the fact that you can go anywhere in the world, you can be anything through books. It's just such a gift to people, you know, to have books and to read.
And to have amazing authors that provide them for us.
Yeah, that's right.
I don't think I have any more questions for you, unless there's anything that I haven't asked that you want to tell us.
No, just asking. I know that I've given away about 60 books for free. Got only a couple of reviews. So if anyone has read my books and they would like to put a review on Goodreads and Amazon, they would be extremely gratefully received. Because like everybody else, you know, we're trying to get some feedback so that Amazon can take us a bit more seriously and push the thing. No, I just thank you for organizing that and for having me on the talk.
It's a pleasure.
I watched some of the ones you've done. I found that quite interesting. I watched the one with Valerie. That was interesting. So yeah, thank you for inviting me on.
So do you just want to lastly tell people where they can find out more about you and your books?
Well, all three of them are on Amazon, and there's an author profile. I'm also on Goodreads. So just to recap, there's Double Vision, and the prequel is Felt Vision. So those are both crime. And this one, although there is 2 crime-related story, this is more poem, mixed genre, different kind, A to Z. And that's it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Donna.